As one might imagine, Sarah has trouble accepting the Terminator as an ally.
Although she doesn't know that he's going to come back, she knows that it's a possibility, so she's ready. No affection. You know, I've kept it really clean.
Do you know what you're doing?
I've detailed files on the human anatomy.
I bet. Makes you a more efficient killer, right?
Correct. Terminator in this film adopts certain human characteristics.
You gotta listen to the way people talk. And if someone comes up to you with an attitude, you say, "Hasta la vista, baby."
Hasta la vista, baby.
That character slowly develops by the very fact of hanging around a human being.
Jesus, you were gonna kill that guy.
Of course, I'm a Terminator.
Listen to me very carefully, okay? You're not a Terminator anymore, all right?
And all that registers, and I start dealing with all those kind of emotions.
The Terminator sent to kill young John is unlike any killing machine ever imagined.
I call him a mimetic polyalloy, meaning that he's made of a substance that can imitate anything.
Playing the T-1000 is Robert Patrick.
Jim was looking for somebody that was sort of a mixture between the Protector character, which was Michael Biehn in the first, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is the Terminator. And I think he was looking for somebody that could look like he could possibly just be a human, and yet could be a Terminator, could handle the intensity to be a Terminator.
Well, I wanted to find someone who would be a good contrast to Arnold. If the 800 series is a kind of human Panzer tank, then the 1000 series had to be a Porsche, an advanced prototype Terminator who was more fearsome than the old model. The thing I like about Robert was he kind of looks like a cat in a way. It's almost like it's about senses with him. You know, you feel that he's very in touch with the world and analyzing it and observing it.
My character wants to completely take out John Connor. That's his mission. A relentless, tenacious killing machine, and he won't stop.
Though their missions are exact opposites, both Terminators stem from the same creator, the unseen supercomputer called Skynet.
So it's like this is the first time you've had to deal with evil, because Terminators don't fight Terminators.
Right.
It's never happened before.
We stem from the same technology, so we've got to have some like programming there. Are you the legal guardian of John Connor?
That's right, officer. What's he done now?
So we're both killing machines, we're just different types.
There was a guy here this morning looking for him, too.
Yeah, a big guy on a bike. Has that got something to do with this?
The new Terminator, really, with his new capabilities, is much more threatening.
I'm basically death. You know, they're running from death.
Both Terminators are programmed to complete their missions at all costs and without question. But Sarah has decided to confront her destiny and takes matters into her own hands.
I need to know how Skynet gets built. Who's responsible?
The man most directly responsible is Miles Bennett Dyson.
She decides that the only way to stop the future that she knows is going to happen is to kill the man that builds the chip that starts the war.
In a very real way, she becomes the Terminator of the second film, at least at a kind of a psychological level.
For cast and crew, Terminator 2 has been more than a reunion.
Has been very intense to work, and you know, a lot of night shooting and a lot of long hours and so on.
Did you see that? Did you see that?
Oh, he's just after whip away because he's embarrassed.
And I'm very honored and happy that I'm able to do the second one.
In 1984, Cameron transformed Arnold into one of the screen's most memorable villains. 7 years later, the process is reversing itself. The Terminator is becoming a protector.
Ultimately, the film is about the value of human life. No matter how inconsequential you may seem to others or even to yourself, your individual existence may have great value in the future.
Grab it, go! Go!
They have a job to do, protect her son, and they do it.
One of the most amazing aspects of Terminator 2 is that it's taken the art and science of special effects to an entirely new level. Several Academy Award-winning effects companies worked under a strict veil of secrecy for almost a year to create the many and varied effects of Terminator 2. Fantasy II, under the command of Terminator veteran Gene Warren, greatly expanded the future war sequences from the first film. Combining live-action combat sequences with effects photography, artists created the massive battlefield for the war between man and machine. The famous endoskeleton also returns for the sequel. Stan Winston's company joined forces with stop-motion animator Peter Kleinow to create an army of these high-tech death figures.
It's the same endoskeleton. Basically the same design. We have finessed it, but it's much more technically advanced than the endoskeleton in the first movie. It's actually artistically advanced. They can do more. There's more life to these endoskeletons.
But redesigning the original endoskeleton was only the beginning for Stan Winston and staff.
In this particular movie, we had to duplicate every principal actor animatronically.
In the scene where the Terminator must force his way past a SWAT firing squad, Stan was called upon to create an Arnold double that could withstand a barrage of gunfire.
There's nothing that we can do that will actually duplicate living things. We can come close, but we can't do it exactly.
It's incredible, huh?
It's working good. It's working good. For this, considering the fact that it's going to be split shots, it'll only be on because we are making animatronic duplications of living things. 2, 3, 4. Perfect.
Lighten up.
Very nice.
It's just a movie. What? Okay, you don't get paid, so what? I make it for you, okay? Relax.
For Sarah's nightmare, Winston's crew designed and created several duplicates of Linda Hamilton, all of which were destroyed in the creation of the haunting nuclear sequence. Destroying Los Angeles was a task given to Forward Productions under the direction of Bob Skotak. Vast miniature cityscapes were built in tremendous detail for the sole purpose of their destruction. But the truly revolutionary effects involved creating the T-1000, the deadliest machine ever built.
It just blew my mind to actually see it, and you go, wow, they've morphed you. You're a liquid mercury man. You're liquid chrome. I don't think I'll get over it, and I totally believed it.
Creating the T-1000 required the combined efforts of Stan Winston's company and Industrial Light and Magic, under the direction of Dennis Murin.
At the beginning of this show, Jim had the boards already done, and you have to start with storyboards. You have to know what you're doing at the beginning. Can it even be done? A show like this, is it technically feasible to even do it now? And Jim was hoping it was, and I thought it was, so we all agreed that we could do it.
It was a constant, little juggling act in the very beginning to figure out what was going to be done optically, what was going to be done as a real life effect, and then what things from us would be needed for ILM to help them work things out optically, and vice versa. And it was, it just worked out as perfect as it possibly could have.
When the T-1000's abilities went beyond what was possible with animatronics, makeup, and prosthetics, ILM was given the task of creating the effects optically, literally redefining state-of-the-art for computer animation.
Computer-generated images are a way of coming up with new effects, especially when we've been doing traditional effects for 80 years. And you're starting to see, I think, a lot of sort of the limits of traditional effects, sort of the, it's very hard to use the same tools and do the different things all the time.
Dennis and I sat down and conceived the process, and we sort of decided to concentrate on the Robert Patrick form, because Robert is the T-1000. We decided we're going to study his body, we're going to watch his movements, we're going to find a way to capture his quality, the way he walks, the way he runs, the way he behaves, the way his body changes shape. And that was, for us, was going to be the key that drove our visual approach to the whole T-1000.
At the making of the models, the studying Robert Patrick, we got Robert, and he was up here, and we painted a grid on him and shot a lot of footage of him, and we could see how the grid moved as his muscles moved and his bodies moved around. That was way back in the beginning of the show.
And so that gives you an extremely powerful guide for creating a real Robert Patrick walk, a real Robert Patrick run, which is in fact the T-1000 walk, the T-1000 run. So it's absolutely critical to our whole process.
We're trying to always duplicate human beings. Everybody's shooting for human beings. This is really the first successful step to adding real life to an otherwise inanimate piece of geometry. It's the wrinkles, it's the slight mannerisms of the eyes and the hands and stuff, just like a real human. That's the kind of thing, that's the extra step we wanted to take. We were destined to do that or nothing. We knew that other people had come so far, we wanted to go beyond that.
I dabbled in this a little bit in the Abyss with the water tentacle that formed the faces of Ed Harris and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. And that proved to be very compelling imagery that people remembered indelibly from that movie. So that kind of encouraged me to take it a step further, or many steps further.
As on The Abyss, ILM employed a revolutionary laser scanning process to capture Robert Patrick's movements and form.
And one of the most powerful ways, or one of the most exciting ways to use it, is to get people's facial expressions into the computer.
I'm sitting in a chair, like this, and I can't move this way, I can't move this way. I've got to stay totally controlled, hit this emotion, and lock on this expression, like,
We can reconstruct the actor's face. It's a very free process. You can sort of go with what's happening and digitize those expressions as you wish. And we can immediately work with them, animate, model, create human, very realistic, very strong human faces.
Get out.
I mean, we work on this stuff, and every day, we still have not lost the spirit of amazement when we see what's coming out.
It's new, and that's what's necessary, is we can't have a sequel and just have it more of the same. There's some wonderful new surprises in Terminator 2.
Bringing the T-1000 to life has been a group effort. I knew I was in good hands, like with ILM and Stan Winston. I knew I was working with the best of the best. And I'd just like to thank them and the crew and my cast members.
Terminator was heralded as the science fiction film of the decade. 7 years later, stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton and visionary director James Cameron have created one of the largest movies ever, the conclusion of the Terminator saga. For cast and crew, Terminator 2 was nothing short of destiny.
Hasta la vista, baby.